Welcome everyone to episode 2 of the Credit Card BS podcast. My name is Shaun. I went to UC Berkeley for college, where I taught a real course on credit cards where students got actual units. I'm coming to you from Secrets Impression Moshe, a very, very expensive and exclusive, high-end, all-inclusive resort that I paid for entirely on points. I'm joined here today with my co-host, Sherwin.
That's awesome, Shaun. Hi, everyone. I'm Sherwin, Shaun's co-host, and today I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C. I currently attend Stanford as a college student, and I got into the points and miles hobby about a year or more ago, and since then I have gotten 9 credit cards and accumulated thousands of points along with my family and planned a lot of really cool trips. For those of you wondering, this podcast is called the Credit Card BS podcast because it reflects the schools that Shaun and I attend, Berkeley and Stanford, respectively. But as always, we've put aside our differences today to talk about award travel and credit cards. So today's topic is going to be a very fun one. The title is Hot Take: The Chase Trifecta is Overrated. So let's begin with Shaun. Why don't you tell everyone just really quickly what a trifecta system is?
Yeah, so the Chase Trifecta, or the typical idea of it, is you'd have 3 Chase cards. So you'd have one of your rotating category cards, like the Chase Freedom Flex. You'd have your basic workhorse everyday card, like the Chase Freedom Unlimited. So the Chase Freedom Unlimited earns 1.5x on everything. And then for your rotating category card, it earns 5x on rotating categories. So it can be a nice way to rack up points. And then you'd have your kind of premium-ish travel card. So like the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve. So that can help you earn more on travel multipliers. And then more importantly, it would allow you to transfer out to partners. You can also kind of mix this up a bit. You can throw in business cards in there as well. So like the Chase Ink Cash, which earns 5x at office supply stores. The Chase Ink Unlimited, which does the same thing as the Chase Freedom Unlimited, but with a bigger sign-up bonus. And then also the Chase Ink Preferred, which is essentially the Chase Sapphire Preferred, but a business version with a bit better of multipliers.
Yes, so the idea is that you're getting multiple cards all from the Chase Ultimate Rewards families, and each of them has different higher multipliers for certain categories. And although the Freedom Unlimited and Freedom Flex, as well as the Ink cards, are marketed as cash back, for example, they'll say, the Unlimited will be 1.5% cash back on everything, 3% back on dining. They actually earn Ultimate Rewards points, so you should be thinking about it like 1.5x or 3x instead of 1.5%. So the base value you can get from cashing out your points will always be 1 cent per point. But as Shaun mentioned, if you have one of the premium cards like the Sapphire Preferred, Sapphire Reserve, or Ink Preferred, you can combine your points together and then transfer to travel partners like airlines and hotels to get more value. So Shaun, why don't you talk a little bit about the transfer partners for Chase and why people should pay attention to them?
Yeah, so Chase has a decent amount of transfer partners. They're not as many as some other banks like American Express, but Chase has a few key, very, very powerful ones. So most notably that both Sherwin and I absolutely love is Hyatt. Basically, or literally every single one of my Chase points has gone to Hyatt. Hyatt's really the only way to get good value toward hotels with credit card points. It's very difficult otherwise. Chase does have a more limited set of airline partners. Their main unique one is United. So United, I believe Chase is the only transferable points currency that you can send your points over to United.
Unless you count Marriott.
And Marriott, I mean, unless you're sending a 3-to-1 Marriott, that's pretty trash. But so yeah, you can send your Chase points 1-to-1 over to Hyatt. The only other currency that I'm aware of that can transfer to Hyatt is Built Points, which is that new program that's being issued by Wells Fargo. But so yeah, Hyatt is really where you're going to be able to get both significant value from your Chase points and also very, very easy value. Normally, when you're transferring points out to partners, it can be pretty difficult, to be honest. So especially with a lot of the airline partners, you have to search all the award seats, all the sweet spots, and it's like, oh no, you can't actually go on the date you want to go. You either have to go a week from now or a year from now, right? So there's not really much flexibility on when you can book it. So what's nice about hotel points, especially with Hyatt, so easy to get value. The rooms are very, very easy to book, and it's very hard to not get good value, assuming you're willing to somewhat cherry pick your redemptions.
Yeah, I very much agree. If you want to fly business or first class with points, it can be difficult to find availability. It's so much easier with hotels. Yes, and one thing I did want to clarify actually, let's just run through an example, right? Let's say I want to stay at Ventana Big Sur, which is like a Hyatt property that normally can cost upwards of $2,000 a night. It's very luxurious, all-inclusive property in California. So let's say I earned a bunch of points from my Chase Freedom Unlimited, from my everyday spend, or getting 1.5x points back. When there's a rotating category for grocery gas, I max that out on my Freedom Flex, and then I'm earning points from dining on my Sapphire Preferred. I can combine all of those points together, and one Chase point will equal one Hyatt point, and I'll transfer those out to Hyatt, and I can redeem that night for 40,000 points, depending on whether it's on peak or off peak. There's also another way you can increase your value of Chase points called the Chase Travel Portal. Shaun, do you want to briefly tell us what that is?
Sure, yeah. So this is a redemption that I'm very openly against, to be entirely honest. So yeah, the Chase Travel Portal, a lot of people talk about this. And it makes me mad a little bit when people talk about it, because so when you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Chase Ink Preferred, okay, you can effectively cash your Chase points out toward travel. So you can book travel on the Chase Travel Portal at a rate of 1.25 cents per point. So 1 point equals 1.25 cents of dollar value to whatever travel you're redeeming for on the portal. Now, just as reference, you can cash Chase points out directly like into your bank account for 1 cent per point, so 25% more. Now, if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you can do it for 1.5 cents per point, so a 50% increase in value. And a lot of people talk, oh, it's 50% more value for your points. Here's the problem with that redemption, okay? Number one, redeeming or buying any travel via a travel portal is a bad idea in general. It just is a recipe prone for disaster, because when something inevitably goes wrong with your trip, right? Let's say the flight's canceled, let's say you want to change something about it, whatever it is, it's a lot more difficult to deal with third-party vendors like a travel portal versus booking your travel with the hotel or airline directly. They're much, much, much more accommodating. Second of all, even at 1.5 cents per point, it's not even that good of value. Like, it's so much easier to get good value, for example, out of Hyatt points. Like, 1.5 cents for a Hyatt point is bad. Like, I won't redeem Hyatt points for 1.5 cents a piece. My base level is 2 cents a piece. So by both accounts, in my opinion, it's not a good redemption. But if you ever do want to do it, you can effectively turn your points into cash for travel via their portal.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you can easily get more than 2 cents per point with Hyatt that I rarely even think about redeeming for 1.25 or 1.5 cents per point. On the travel portal. I might as well pay cash, I feel like, and then save those points for Hyatt. I will have a recommendation for later in this episode for those of you who do want to redeem for domestic economy flights, where it can be hard to get up to 1.5 cents per point with the airline's miles. But anyway, I think this is a good segue to talk about a common topic people discuss, which is should I get the Chase Sapphire Preferred and Chase Sapphire Reserve? And I feel like Shaun and I both have very strong opinions about this. So as Shaun mentioned, the big difference is, when they market these cards, they'll say, oh, Sapphire Reserve has 50% more value for your points in the travel portal, while Sapphire Preferred only has 25% more points. So it seems like we should go with the Reserve, right?
I say wrong, because to me, I don't even value that benefit at all, because I've never redeemed a single point on the portal. So even if it's 50% more value, that's only if you choose to do that redemption, which I don't think you should do. So yeah, because they both have the same transfer ratio of 1-to-1 to all their partners, to me, it doesn't matter, right? So the only thing that matters is the 1-to-1 travel transfer ratio. And so given that, it can be pretty hard to justify the CSR over the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Chase Ink Preferred. So what are your thoughts on that?
I totally agree, right? The Sapphire Reserve has a $550 annual fee, I believe. Now, they give you a $300 travel credit, which is pretty easy to use. So, your effective annual fee is still $250, which is, or is it $150? Can't do math. But that is still quite a bit over the Sapphire Preferred's $95 annual fee. And, considering that both of us recommend just transferring 1-to-1 to Hyatt or other airline partners, it's not that 50% boost isn't really that useful, and I don't think justifies additional annual fee. Of course, you also get Priority Pass, but a lot of other cards like the Amex Platinum or the Venture X gave you Priority Pass. So to me, that's not that big of a unique benefit if you're open to having multiple cards from different issuers. My personal opinion is to get neither the Sapphire Preferred nor the Sapphire Reserve. And then you might ask, then Sherwin, how are you going to transfer out your points to transfer partners? And the answer is the Ink Business Preferred card, which has a $95 annual fee, does allow you to transfer to travel partners. Now, it is a business card, but I feel like it's much better value. It also has the one-to-one transfer. It earns you triple points, 3x on travel, rather than the Sapphire Preferred's 2x. And Sapphire Reserve is 3x travel as well, but Sapphire Preferred is only $95 annual fee. I'm already getting the 3x on dining with my Freedom Flex card or the Freedom Unlimited card, so I feel like that's not really a unique perk, either the Sapphire Preferred or Sapphire Reserve. And I think probably the best part is the Sapphire Preferred or the Ink Preferred does not count toward your 524 status. So the 524 rule for Chase is that if you've opened 5 or more personal credit cards in the last 24 months, you'll get denied for any Chase cards. So with Chase business cards, they are subject to 524 for you to get approved. But once you get approved, it doesn't add to your 524 count. So I can save that slot for a different hotel keeper card from Chase. So because the Ink Preferred doesn't take up one of those slots, I think it's a much better sell for me. And also the sign-up bonus is usually higher, with a higher minimum spend requirement, but a higher number of points you can get. Shaun, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the Chase Ink Preferred really is the way to go for your transferable points card. I think a couple notes on it. So the bonus is always basically significantly higher. So for the Sapphire Preferred, you're looking at 60 to 80K normally. Very, very rarely it may go to 100K. On the Ink Preferred, you're looking at 100K always, year round. Now the problem is, this is the big problem for a lot of people. You have to spend $15,000 in 3 months. That's no easy feat. That was not an easy feat for me either. I had to make sure I had some spending lined up, some rent I could pay before I got the card, because otherwise it would have just been impossible. So I think it's a really solid card, especially as you're saying, because it doesn't contribute to 524. Those slots to me are so valuable. And because none of these 3 cards, I would call a keeper card, only in the sense that they don't provide a certificate or benefits that directly outweigh the annual fee. They're still cards I recommend keeping just for that transferability, but it's not paying itself back in and of itself. Now, a couple things I should also note just about the CSR. So before anyone in the comments starts saying there are other credits with it, because there are a couple other credits that they don't actually market, apparently. So there's the $300 travel credit. Then there's I believe a $60 DoorDash credit. And it's kind of weird. It's $5 a month, and you can stack it up to 3 months, if I'm correct on this.
Something like that.
It's $15 every 3 months. It's really weird. And then there's an Instacart membership as well, which is worth $99. Now, I could be wrong on this because they don't advertise these benefits, so they are technically temporary. But so those are a few other things that you can do to offset the fee. And then the other thing with the CSR, which is interesting, is the Priority Pass membership that it provides. What's nice, the one thing that is really nice about it is it does give you access to Priority Pass restaurants. So if you're not aware, how it works is not all Priority Pass cards are created equal. So for example, if you have the Capital One Venture X or any American Express card that provides Priority Pass, you don't get access to the Priority Pass restaurants. So other than the lounges, which are the normal Priority Pass stuff, there'll be these restaurants that actually accept a Priority Pass card. And when you go there, they'll give you a credit toward buying food there. And so any Amex or Capital One Venture X Priority Pass is not eligible. But for the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Priority Pass from that is actually eligible for that benefit. So that is one kind of niche thing that should be considered. But yes, I agree overall, the Ink Preferred is the way to go, especially because you're having that higher bonus. It's not contributing to 524. You're getting the 3x on travel without having to get the Sapphire Reserve. I think it's overall a really, really strong card that a lot more people need to consider.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the big downside, as we mentioned, is the $15,000 minimum spend to hit sign-up bonus. So, I mean, this applies to any card you're getting, but always have a plan on how you're going to meet the minimum spend before you apply for the card, or else you may lose out on the bonus and lose out on the eligibility to get the bonus again in the future. So always have a plan going into a credit card application. Okay, so now that we've covered kind of the Sapphire Preferred, Sapphire Reserve, and Ink Preferred, I want to talk about what my personal strategy is. So I run what I call a modified Chase Quadfecta, which you might be surprised only one of the 4 cards is a personal card. So what I do is I have a Freedom Flex, which gives me the 5x on rotating categories, 3x on dining, and 3x on drugstores. I have a Chase Ink Unlimited, which gives me 1.5x on all purchases. I have an Ink Cash, which gives me 5x on office supply stores, and I think phone, internet, cable, something like that. And then I also have an Ink Preferred, which I use for 3x on travel, and it is also my go-to card for transferring points out to Hyatt or other partners. The reason I pursued this strategy is because the Ink cards had much higher sign-up bonuses. When I got them, I got 90,000 points each on those Ink cards, so you could do the math, a lot of points. And also got like referral bonuses from my family when I opened them up. So much higher sign-up bonuses than like if you compared like Ink Unlimited, usually the sign-up bonus is like 75,000 points, whereas Freedom Unlimited, which basically does the same thing, sign-up bonus is only like 20,000 points. So that was a big consideration. Also, of these 4 cards, I only used one 524 slot for the Freedom Flex. The other 3 are business cards. So I was under 524 when I applied for them, but they did not add to those cards, add to the 524 slot. And, I think this is a really effective setup for me because I'm able to get the 1.5x without needing a personal card for that, but also take advantage of 3x on dining from the no annual fee Freedom card. And, the total annual fee for this whole setup is $95 a year just for the Ink Preferred. Everything else is no annual fee. So I find this a pretty effective setup that you might consider if you're open to opening business cards.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid setup. And I think it's really smart how you prioritize the business cards on it, because all of those cards you got had huge sign-up bonuses. The Chase Ink Cash and the Ink Unlimited had the minimum 75K offer. I don't know if you got
the 90K.
Did you get the 90K
yeah.
offer?
On
That's
both,
even better.
yeah.
So you got the 90,000 point offer.
And then someone in my family
insane.
got 20K per referral when they referred me each of those 3 cards. So it's a lot of points.
That's even more insane. Yeah, because with the Freedom cards, the sign-up bonuses are only 20K each, and the referral bonuses are only 10K each. So maximum points generation per sign-up is about 30,000. Like, sure, there's that stupid 5x grocery offer, whatever. That's peanuts here. So the most you really generated on a Freedom is 30,000 points. But on an Ink card, you were generating 110,000 points per sign-up. So well over 3x the amount of points just per sign-up. And then it doesn't contribute to your 524, and you're getting the same benefits effectively. So it's a really, really strong setup. Now, for my modified trifecta, my personal opinion is no trifecta at all. We're playing for big money here. We're playing for big numbers. I'm not going after the 2x, the 3x. I mean, it's nice if it happens. Don't get me wrong. Like when I'm going to grocery stores, I use my Amex Gold card for the 4x. I'm not ignoring that. But what I am saying is the big money for the vast majority of people is going to be in sign-up bonuses. If you're getting, let's say, a 90,000 point bonus, do you know how much spending you would have to do to organically reach 90,000? Even at a 3x average, that's $30,000. That's insane. People are imagining here I get the Freedom Unlimited, the Freedom Flex, and the Sapphire Preferred, and that you'll be racking up all these points. Unless you're spending several $100,000 a month, that's not going to happen. So my opinion is, go for the subs. Definitely go for the sign-up bonuses, because that is where the vast majority of your points are going to come from. And if a trifecta happens, of course, use the right card at different stores. That's 100% a given. But your priority should be on the sign-up bonuses more than the spending multipliers. So that's why I think your trifecta is so smart, because you got all those sign-up bonuses in the process. So you've created a trifecta, but it's not like you harmed yourself in any way doing it, because it didn't contribute to your 524 and you earned a ton of sign-up bonuses. So yeah, my opinion is definitely focus on the subs. If you want to build, now that's not to say, I do want to say, that isn't to necessarily say that I'm a churner in the sense that all I focus on is the subs and no other benefits of the card. I actually love not having to open new cards. So I've spec'd heavily into keeper cards. So cards which, are hotel cards, you pay an annual fee and you get a free night certificate worth significantly more than the fee. So for me, I have a ton of those cards. I love those cards because they don't require me to spend tons of money on them, but I don't have to keep opening new cards. It's a very nice long-term strategy that you can play into, because once you've opened a bunch of them, now I have all these hotel certs coming in every year, and I can stay at very nice places using them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on really focusing on keeper cards. And, you know, that's the reason I say, the Chase Trifecta is overrated. Not because you shouldn't get it. Like, I'm still getting a lot of value from it, especially with Hyatt, but because you just don't want to have a Trifecta prevent you from exploring other new cards, new sign-up bonuses, whether from Chase or from other issuers. You can have that as your foundation. And, I would recommend getting it as your foundation early on while you're under 524. But then once you have that Trifecta, keep it, but don't prevent yourself from opening new cards because you're fixated on these 1x, 2x, 3x category bonuses. They're not going to generate you nearly as many points as a sign-up bonus. Yeah. So now that we've kind of given our reasons why the Chase Trifecta is important but overrated, I thought it would be fun to share some of our picks for what cards we think are underrated. So
yeah, I think. Or do you want to go with your first pick, or should I start with mine?
I'll start. So I think one card everyone should consider is the City Premier card. The City Premier card is a $95 annual fee card, and it actually has really good multipliers. So it has 3x on dining, 3x on grocery, 3x on gas, and 3x on airlines and hotels. And then that is also the card that unlocks the city's transfer partners to their airline and hotel partners, which are a little bit different from Chase. And the reason I bring this card up is because I think it, in one way, illustrates one of the weaknesses of the Chase Trifecta is that there's no consistent higher spending category for gas and grocery. In the city setup, you're getting a base 3x, but with Chase, you really have to wait for that 5x category on grocery or gas to come around. Otherwise, your best is the 1.5x on your Inca Limited or Freedom Unlimited, which isn't all that competitive. And what's great with the City Premier is that you can also combine it with the other city cards to also have a Trifecta or Quadfecta system, right? If you get the city double cash, you're going to get 2x based on everything, which is more competitive than Chase's 1.5x on the unlimited cards. The City Custom Cash is a great card where, unlike the Freedom Flex, where they force you to use the 5x categories that Chase decides, City lets you kind of pick your own category every month. Whatever you spend the most on, get 5x. So that could be 5x on grocery all year long if you make it that way. It's also City Rewards Plus, and the main perk of that card is that you get a 10% rebate every time you redeem your points. So if you transfer 100,000 points, let's say, to Avianca Life Miles, you'll only really spend 90,000. So then, in effect, the math works out to be like 3.33x on those premier categories, 2.22x on double cash. So it's actually a really strong setup and one that I would recommend after you're done setting up with Chase. And, I don't know your opinion on this, Shaun, but I actually find that the city airline partners are more compelling than some of the Chase airline partners. They have Turkish, which can be great for domestic travel if you can find United Saver availability. They have a pretty unique program called EVA Air, which I personally like because it has better reward availability for their own flights to Taiwan, and they have really nice business class. They have the big ones like Flying Blue, Avianca Life Miles. They have Avios through Qatar. They have Virgin. They also often have transfer bonuses. So, my opinion is that, Chase has a strong suit for hotel, which is Hyatt, but City actually has pretty good airline partners. And they also have a 1 to 2 transfer to Choice Hotels. City does, which can be useful for some people.
Yeah, I agree with this. So I think City, now that I think about it, City might have the most well-balanced of the reward programs. Because, Chase is amazing for hotels, for sure. No one's questioning that because you have Hyatt. Amex is no doubt the best for airlines. You have the most, variety of airline partners, and you have some really, really powerful ones on Amex's side, like ANA. That's, super, super powerful. But City has a decent mix of powerful hotel partners powerful hotel partner and airline partners. So the City Choice 1 to 2 is actually very, very good if you redeem it right. So I haven't done any Choice redemptions myself because I don't have any City cards. But from what I'm aware, with Choice, for example, if you're traveling to like Northern Europe, you can get some phenomenal value out of Choice points because the hotels there are just so insanely expensive. And then if you're doing like luxury stays, Choice does, ironically, even though Choice Hotels has like no luxury properties, they have a partnership with a company called Preferred Hotels and Resort, where you can redeem Choice points there and get some fairly decent value, especially considering you're transferring your points at a 1-to-2 ratio. So Citi has that going for it.
Absolutely.
And then you also have those unique airline partners like Turkish and Eva Air. So, Turkish is a very powerful partner where essentially you can fly one way like almost anywhere in the United States for only 7,500 miles per person one way, which is really good. That's
hard
like
to
the
find
best.
availability though. That's the problem. And Turkish website is janky, but if you can make it work, it's really good value. You got to put in the work to do it. That's what I would say about Turkish.
Definitely. I've dealt with Turkish customer service before, not with this particular redemption.
Yeah.
With redeeming Turkish miles on a Turkish Airlines operated flight, it wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty. They said they refunded me when I canceled it. It took them like a month.
I'm sorry, man.
They didn't refund me.
Sounds tough.
Yeah.
That's Turkish for you.
But if you do it, it's
yeah.
worth it. Now,
in general, I just think the Citi multipliers are better for the reasons I talked about than the Chase multipliers.
Yes, I think the multipliers are pretty strong. The subs are pretty strong. They're lacking a top tier card, at least for now. Maybe they're going to release one soon. Now, for my underrated pick, my first underrated pick, this is the American Express Blue Business Plus. Now, let me give a little bit of a reasoning here. So the card earns a base 2x on everything. Okay, so compared with cards like the Freedom Unlimited and stuff like that, you earn a base 2x Amex points on every dollar. So that's and then there is a cap of up to $50,000 per year in spending. So here's what I think. Now, that in and of itself, like, it's good, okay? 2x and everything, it's good. It's legitimately good, but I just mentioned how the multipliers aren't really my game. But this is where I think the BBP can come in. So one, it's a very good way to get your foot in the door with business cards if you're like nervous about them, because Amex is very easy to get approved for any of their cards. As long as you haven't like defaulted on anything, you'll very likely get approved for Amex cards. So it's a very good way to get your foot in the door with business cards. It was my first business card. And then the sign-up bonus can actually be fairly decent on it, depending on which one you get. So it can be like usually 50,000 points if you spend 15K in like a calendar year or first 3 months, something like that. So the bonus can be decent. It's a good way to get your foot in the door with Amex. And then also, because it's a no annual fee MR earning card, it's a great way, let's say you're gonna cancel your Platinum or your Gold. You need an American Express MR earning card to keep your points. Otherwise, your points, you'll lose them all. So because it earns Amex points, if you have that card open and you cancel the other ones, you'll still hold on to your points. And it's no annual fee, so it's not costing you anything. And there's no, it's a personal card, business card, so it doesn't contribute to your 524. So that is awesome.
Yeah, just one thing to keep in mind is that the Blue Business Plus has a foreign transaction fee, so you don't want to use it abroad, but it is a no annual fee card, business card, very competitive. All right, I shall go on to my next underrated pick, which is the IHG Premier Card. We already did an episode last week, episode 1, on the IHG program, so I won't go into too much depth. Refer to that if you want more details, but the upshot is it's a $99 annual fee. Each year you get a free night certificate worth up to 40,000 IHG points, easily more than $200, if not $300 in value, depending on what you pick. So very easy to justify the annual fee. It gives you IHG Platinum status, gives you United Travel Bank credit. It's kind of hard to use, but it may be useful for some people. Gives you 4th night free, so every 3 nights you book on points with IHG in a consecutive single stay. The 4th night is free, so that lets you stretch your points a little farther. The sign-up bonuses are generally quite competitive. You get TSA pre-check for $99 annual fee card. It's a very solid pick and a long-term keeper. I wouldn't probably do my everyday spending on it, even though it has 3x IHG points. I think you would probably do better with one of the transferable currency cards like the Double Cash or the Freedom Limited, Blue Business Plus, etc. But very solid long-term keeper card. Shaun?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that the Premier is like a seriously underrated card. Getting IHG for we did the full episode on this, so yeah, go watch the first episode, and we talk all about it. But yeah, 100% agree with your pick. Now, okay, so for my pick, a lot of people don't think this card is underrated. It's talked about in every blog, every top 10 credit card post, basically everywhere. I still think it's underrated because it is that good. So this is the Hilton Aspire. This card is absolutely bonkos broken. So what is it? Okay, it's a $450 annual fee card. Okay, so it's a very expensive card right off the bat. Now, some of the loser perks that I don't care about, you get Priority Pass Lounge. I don't care. I have like 10 other cards that give me that. You get like the TSA free check credit. I don't care. I have 10 other cards that give me that. Couple other mediocre benefits, but here's what's really good. So ignoring the sub. The sub's 150K Hilton points. That's fine. Whatever. Peanuts. I mean, okay, not really peanuts, but slightly peanuts. The real money comes in every year, including the year you open the card, you get a Hilton free night certificate. That already pays back the card in my mind. Okay, so why is it so good? Hilton free night certificates can basically be used at any Hilton on the planet. So Waldorf Astoria Maldives, $2,000 a night, that's fine. Waldorf Astoria Cabo, $1,600 a night, that's fine. Waldorf Beverly Hills, $1,000 a night, that's also fine. So as long as there's standard rooms available at each of those hotels, you can book it using the certificate. So you can redeem at insanely expensive hotels because Hilton does have some very, very high tier hotels. Additionally, if it wasn't already good enough, you get a $250 per card member year credit toward Hilton resorts. So this is an absolutely broken credit as well because if you're staying at a Hilton resort and you charge literally anything to the room and then you pay a portion of or the entirety of the room bill with your card, it credits it back. So for example, let's say I'm staying at a hotel, a Hilton resort specifically, and I'm staying on points, so let's say my room rate is nothing. But I go to the restaurant, I sit down, I order a water, and I tip the waiter $250 and charge it to the room. That is eligible for the credit. There's no restrictions. So
I do want to mention the room rate, as long as it's not advanced purchase, but you're being charged at the hotel, will as long as it's a resort, it will count toward it.
You are correct, yes. So if it's a prepaid room rate, it's not eligible. So it has to be charged like at the resort, like so you have to, whatever it is, you have to pay for it at the resort, and it has to be part of your room bill. So I can't like give the waiter my card and pay for the meal. I have to say, no, charge it to my room, and then I'll give the front desk my card. And then you also get a $250 per calendar year airline fee credit. Now, what this airline fee credit does, normally it's only for like incidentals, but it's very, very easy to kind of turn it into airline credit via a few options, such as like Southwest or United. I shouldn't talk about it too publicly because I don't want to be one of those guys that gets the thing shut down, but do a little Googling and you can definitely find how to do that. Very easy.
I agree. Don't forget, you get Hilton Diamond status just by having the card. And that is insane to me. It's the only big hotel program other than Wyndham where you get the highest tier status without staying a single night if you just get this card. And that's on top of all of those credits and the free night certificate Shaun already mentioned.
Exactly. The card is so good, I literally forgot to mention one of the biggest benefits, which is the Hilton Diamond. So Hilton Diamond, you're kind of eligible for suite upgrades. You have lounge access. You kind of have free breakfast. It depends on where you're staying, to be honest. It's kind of like it highly depends. But there's some really nice places where you could get like some legit breakfast. Like I was staying at the Waldorf Astoria Dubai International Financial Center. Phenomenal breakfast. I asked them like, oh, what's included? Because a lot of these programs where you get like free breakfast are like, oh yeah, you get one dish and then like, you know, we'll get you like a half glass of juice and that's it. The guy was like, no, like literally anything. Like, what do you want? Like I could order like the whole menu and it would have been free. So
damn.
Some places really are generous, and yeah, some amazing perks on that card. And Diamond status is legitimately a good status, especially if you're in Asia or the Middle East. You can get some nice upgrade.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I shall go on to my third and final underrated pick, which is one that's not really talked about that much on blogs and internet, called the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve card. Okay, so what is this card? It has a $400 annual fee, which seems high, but each year you get a $325 travel or dining credit. So any dining purchases at any restaurants or any travel purchases, airlines or hotels or what have you, will just count toward that. So in my mind, it's an effective $75 annual fee. Now, what kind of makes this card so broken, in my opinion, is that you earn 3x points on any purchases made with mobile wallet. So if you add this card to your Google Pay or your Apple Pay, getting triple points. How much are the points worth? 1.5 cents per point each if you redeem using your real-time rewards. So you're effectively getting 4.5% back on any purchase where you can use Google Pay or Apple Pay. That is insane. How the real-time rewards works is that, let's say you buy a plane ticket for, like $100 or something and you charge it to the card, then you'll get a text asking you whether you want to redeem toward that purchase using your US Bank points. And then if you reply and say yes, they will deduct the necessary number of points at a 1.5 cents per point rate and then give you a statement credit offsetting that purchase. So you're able to, so it's very flexible. You don't have to redeem through a portal like what Chase does to get 1.5 cents per point. So in my opinion, actually, like if you want a type of currency to help offset these types of travel charges, instead of getting the Sapphire Reserve, where you have like an effective $250 annual fee after you subtract the credit, get the US Bank Altitude Reserve, where you only have a $75 effective annual fee. You can redeem these points at 1.5 cents per point. You're fast to earn with Google Pay or Apple Pay. And then save your Chase points for Hyatt and then use your US Bank points to redeem toward travel purchases. Some other perks of the card include a Priority Pass membership, but it's a little different where you can only use it 4 times a year, unfortunately. But it does come with restaurants. So what you could theoretically do if you don't have Chase Sapphire Reserve is if you have the Priority Pass from the Venture X or an Amex card, use that for the lounges and then save your Priority Pass from the US Bank Altitude Reserve for restaurant use up to 4 times a year. I think that's a pretty good compromise. Also, the US Bank Altitude Reserve has top tier travel protections comparable to those the Sapphire Reserve, like a 6-hour trip delay protection, baggage insurance, trip cancellation insurance or whatever. So you're able to access all of those perks at a much lower effective annual fee than the US Bank Altitude Reserve, or than the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I mean.
So one thing I want to ask you about this is because, so this does sound like a very, very good card. My main concern is with US Bank, the issuer, because if I'm correct, they do have a reputation for being rather difficult to get approved for. So do you want to kind of just quickly go over some of the approval requirements that you'll see at US Bank? Because I've seen mixed data points on this. Some people have gotten approved for it. Some people get denied with very good history.
Unfortunately, unlike Chase, they don't have any clear publicized rules like a 524 or something. But from the data points that I've seen, it definitely helps if you have an existing US Bank relationship. So, if you're able to open a US Bank checking account and just park some money in there, it'll help you get approved a little more easily. From what I've seen, they want to see 0 to 1 cards in the last 6 to 12 months. You might be able to get away with 212, depending on your income or your relationship with US Bank. Kind of opaque. I think they've loosened up the requirements a little bit more from then in the past, but still not a lot of clear information. My understanding is they tend to pull TransUnion, if that's useful information to you. But I would say if you're at if you open 7 different cards in the last year, I probably would hold off until you're at, and they tend to look at the last 12 months rather than 24.
Okay, that's pretty useful information to know. It's nice that they're not looking at a full 2-year window, because that means if you're gardening for a bit, if you're waiting, to get some new cards, and you've kind of cleared up at least your 12 months history, that you're eligible. You might be eligible earlier, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And so we've seen some people that we know in the Discord group. There's Discord group we run, link down below.
Yeah.
You should check it out, free group. But some people in there have gotten approved for this card with fairly decent velocity, so that's pretty impressive. And yeah, I agree. I think this is it's a pretty good
Just
pick.
depends.
So from
one thing I want to add, sorry if I really, is that 3x category on mobile wallet is uncapped, which makes it insane, right? There's no limit after a year or calendar year. So with the effective annual fee of $75, you can easily make that back if you're doing a lot of mobile wallet, getting 4.5% back effectively. But yeah, that's all.
No, yeah, that's a very good point. The fact that it's uncapped makes it, because if it's capped at only $15,000 on spend per year, it's who cares, right? But this means let's say you're making a huge, massive purchase, let's say at an appliance store and they're accepting Apple Pay, that could be a huge deal.
Oh, now, and then US Bank is very sensitive to gift card purchases and shady things, so do not trigger them or else you'll get shut down.
Good point. Very good point. Yeah, got to be careful about that, especially on certain card issuers. So for my third underrated card pick, I think this might be the most underrated credit card in the world, in my view. So it's still actually very publicized, but much less. So this card has some very, very unique abilities, but it does come with a major caveat. So this is the Wyndham Business Earner credit card. So this is issued by Barclays Bank. Now, why is this card so good? So it has a $95 annual fee. The sign-up bonus is between 45,000 to like 75 to 90,000 Wyndham points, depending on when you get the card. Now, that is a legitimately good bonus, okay?
Yeah, so Shaun, you like Days In and other Wyndham brands?
No, you will not catch me dead in a Wyndham property. So why on earth do I think this card is so good? So first of all, we're not using Wyndham points for Wyndham properties. Okay, that's number one. So Wyndham has, I'll get to the partnership in a second, actually. I'll tell you the other benefits of the card. So you also get Wyndham Diamond status. Okay, now this is their top tier status. Yeah, effectively their top tier status. They have like one other kind of top tier status, but it's like you can only get it by owning a Wyndham hotel. So that's different. But so top tier status, Diamond status. Now you also, which the reason that's so good is because when you have Wyndham Diamond, you can match that over to Caesars Diamond, which then makes you eligible now to match in casino statuses. So this is so unbelievably powerful because having casino status means you can get heavily discounted cruises, you can match to other casinos to get other nice benefits like free play credit, free nights, waived resort fees, stuff like that. So it's a really, really, really powerful status to have because you can just match it to so many different programs. Now, and then additionally with those like heavily discounted cruises. So you can get like cruises for just the port taxes and fees because they think you're a gambler when you have casino statuses, even though you're not, you just have the status from the credit card. Now, the other cool thing is, so this is where I think it starts to get kind of broken. So the Wyndham has a partnership with a company called Vacasa. Now, Vacasa is a vacation rental company similar to Airbnb or Vrbo. Now, for 15,000 Wyndham points per night, you can redeem a one-bedroom Vacasa vacation rental. That is insane because there's no taxes and fees on it. So normally with a vacation rental, you get hit with all these stupid fees that don't aren't showing up in the base rate, like the cleaning fee, the service fee, the theoretical dog fee. You don't even have a dog. They're just charging for future guests that have dogs. Like all these stupid fees that, just made up. But you don't pay those on points. So that is what's so good because for 15,000 points per night, you can stay at a $300 a night base rate vacation rental. And a $300 base rate vacation rental is more like $500 a night. So you're getting like 3+ cents per point from your Wyndham points, which is just amazing. And what's even better here, so you get a 10% discount on points redemptions with the card. So you're not even paying 15,000 points per night, you're paying 13,500 points per night. So even better of a deal. Furthermore, you can buy points at less than 1 cent a piece. So if you do the math, you can actually buy points for $125 per night to stay in a Vacasa vacation rental.
When they're on sale.
Awesome. When they're on sale, correct. Only when they're on sale. And then it's also probably the world's best gas credit card, in my opinion. So you earn 8x at gas station. So even if you're earning 1 cent per point, that's amazing. That's 8% back on gas. But you can easily get 2 cents per point out of these. So you could argue it's 16% back in redemption value at gas stations. So
is that uncapped?
It's really just an amazing card. I believe it is uncapped. I'm not aware of a cap for it. I hope there's not because it's a really,
I'd say the other good card for uncapped gas spend would be the City Premier for 3x transferable points. It's not really a common category across like many issuers. So
yeah, it seems to mainly be like a business-focused category, which is why it's on this card is technically a business card. Now, you also get 8x at Wyndham properties, but let's be real, who's staying?
Also, I think one important point is, although it has a $95 annual fee each year on your anniversary, you automatically get 15,000 points, so it kind of pays for itself.
Very good point. Since it's not a certificate, you can just stack these points. Now, the points expire 40 years after earning them, but still, that's very, very a very good way to pay back the annual fee. It pays for itself automatically. Now, the caveat. This is the big thing that's an issue for a lot of people, including myself. So Barclays, the approval rules, so one, they have a 624 rule, same thing as Chase 524, but just 624. Now, they pulled TransUnion, which is great, because basically no one else looks at TransUnion. The issue is, they're very annoying to get approved for. So I will bet a good amount of money that for most people, you will initially be either pending or denied. You will have to call up Barclays reconsideration. They'll say you were denied. You just ask for reconsideration. They're able to approve you for a toy limit, probably like $1,000 or $2,000. Like my limit on the card is still $1,000. Now, after that, they're going to transfer you to their security department, where they're going to need you to send in likely a social security card, a bank statement, and driver's license. So, and then you're going to send those in, and no, you can't email them. You have to fax them to them, which is nice. And then you're going to wait back like a week. You're going to hear nothing back, and you're going to call them back up, and they're going to say one of them was too bright. I'm willing to bet they're going to say one of those things was too bright. And then you're going to have to send it in again. And there's a 50% chance they'll say another one of them is too bright. And you'll have to send it in again. And eventually, though, they will probably approve you for the card. So after like several hours of sitting on the phone, you can probably get approved for the card. My main tip is get the number of the security department so you can just call them back directly and then not get transferred 6 times, because that's what happened to me.
Okay, that's definitely useful information, but I would say like don't get scared away from applying and trying. Like I got very lucky. I was instantly approved by Barclays for a different business card, but like did not have to call in. I got a huge credit limit. So it really just depends on your credit profile and your luck. Yeah, it's very opaque. We don't know what the criteria is for triggering all these security things, but I would say shoot your shot.
I agree. Definitely still go for it. Like as much, I still applied for the card and I still have the card.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you like a forewarning. It's a bit of a journey to get it, but it's 100% worth it. I would for sure go for it, especially because it's a business card and it pulls TransUnion. So definitely worth it. And yeah, did you have any more final thoughts you wanted to cover?
I think we're good. I think that brings us to the end of today's episode. So Shaun, would you like to do a quick plug of our Discord and our referral links?
Yes, so if you enjoyed today's podcast and you want to help support us out, please check out the links in the description for credit cards that we have. If you apply through one of those links, it helps us out so much. Just make sure the sign-up offer is competitive. You always do want to make sure you are getting the best offer possible. And then also, if you want to join a community of award travelers and people that are very, very good at this, please check out the free Discord link in the description. We got some seriously smart people in there dropping deal alerts, dropping award sales, everything, really, really smart people, and you'll learn a lot in there, completely free. There's no fee or anything like that. So please check that out. And I do hope you enjoyed today's video, and we will see you next week.
Awesome. Yeah, hope everyone found the information useful. Bye.